I'm Jess.
I'm Scotty.
And I'm your host, Dawson, and you're watching
On the Clock.
Or no, yeah, he had 3 touchdowns. Well, there, I think 6 of these. Yeah. And so if you're bottom,
Yeah, Wichita State, we won the past league.
Hello everybody and welcome back to On the Clock. We hope you all had a Merry Christmas. Today is just going to be Scotty and I. Beery had knee surgery over Christmas break, so he will be back here soon. He should be on the show next week.
Yeah.
But everybody's wishing him a speedy recovery. So last night was the national championship game. The Georgia Bulldogs kind of destroyed TCU. It was the biggest blowout ever in a college football play, or I think it might have been in the playoff game, but I don't know. In the finals for sure. But it was also Georgia's largest margin of victory this season. They just looked better than them in every aspect of the game. It wasn't even like competent. Like they averaged like 8 or 9 yards a play.
I wanted the Frogs to win, but it wasn't even close. That for a little bit you were like, okay, maybe they can hang on, and then
when it was 10-7 or 7-17, we thought maybe you'd stop here or there, get the ball back. But yeah, it was. I mean, it's cool that TCU made it. I feel like it should have been an Alabama, Georgia playoff, but that's what we see every year.
Would have been a better game, but
yeah. So moving on into the NFL, DeMar Hamlin. So I think he was released yesterday from the hospital, so that's good to hear. Buffalo on that first return touchdown. That's weird. You don't normally have to say that. There's normally only one a game, if there is one. They said he was still in ICU and his charts were going off or whatever because he was so excited. But the playoffs are now set. Philly and Kansas City have the byes. So do you think those two teams are deserving of the byes, or how do you think that all worked out?
Out of the NFC, I think just the way the Eagles started off, they deserve that bye. I think you could make an argument that some people may think the Niners are a better team.
They got off into a slow start. That's where you really got to.
Because Trey Lance, they were trying to work with him at the beginning of the year and then got hurt like week 2 or 3.
Yeah, and then you had Jimmy Garoppolo come in and then Brock Purdy. He's got 2 touchdowns in his first 5 starts. I think the only other quarterback to do that was Dan Marino.
So I think the Chiefs deserved it just because of how consistent they've been. I feel like, the second half of the season a little shaky, but I think you could say that for the Bills too. I think the team that's really looked good in the second half of the season in the AFC is the Bengals. I feel like
they're a dangerous team.
I feel like they started off a little slower, but when the second part of the second half of the season started, they kept picking up when Jamar Chase came back from an injury, and I really think that they're a scary team out of this division.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to go through here and pick our games. So I have the Chargers beating the Jaguars. It's my only upset in the AFC. So then that would mean the Bills and the Bengals advance. So then the Chiefs would play the Chargers for the 3rd time this year. I'm giving Chiefs the edge there. And then I'm picking the Bills over the Bengals. And then the Chiefs over the Bills at a neutral site.
Yeah, my AFC side, I picked 1, or technically 2. I think the Chargers are a better team than the Jaguars.
But they're a lower seed.
Yeah, so I guess you could say it's an upset. So I got the Chargers winning that game, Bengals winning theirs, and then I went with a little Tua Tagovailoa upset and the Dolphins winning here. So I got the Chiefs over the Dolphins in the next round. I think they handle him, but I think Tyreek could be scary against that Chiefs defense.
For sure, yeah.
Even though these guys have practiced with him before a lot,
we have so many new young corners, yeah.
So, and then I got the Chargers over the Bengals, actually. And a Chiefs-Chargers third time this season, and I think I got the Chiefs over them going to the Super Bowl.
All right, and then moving out to the NFC, I have the I'm going to go, I didn't write this down, but I think I'm going to go Cowboys as an upset technically. And then I have Vikings and Niners. And then I have the Eagles over the Cowboys, Niners over Vikings, and then Niners over Eagles to give me a Chiefs-Niners Super Bowl.
Mine's about the same as yours. I go Cowboys, Vikings, and Niners to all move on. And then the only difference I have here is I took the Cowboys over the Eagles. I think it's kind of just something set up for. I mean, you never really trust the Cowboys in the playoffs, but I'm just picking this upset because I think the Eagles have looked a little shaky, And I feel like this divisional matchup will be really hyped up, and I think the Cowboys could pull it off in a really high-scoring game. But I don't think it matters in the end. I think the Niners would beat both the Eagles and the Cowboys and go to the Super Bowl.
So we both have a Chiefs-Niners Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I got the Chiefs coming out on top. I don't know if Brock Purdy would still be the starter at that point. I'm guessing if he brings it that far, they're going to let him finish it out. But that will be a very interesting room next year to see if Brock Purdy, if they're going to let him be the guy, or if Trey Lance or Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, is out. I think he's going to go somewhere else. I think I could see him, if Lamar leaves, I could see him going to Baltimore or Tampa Bay. There's a plethora of places. And we'll talk about the quarterback carousel here in a couple weeks when we don't really have anything to talk about. But do you have the Niners or Chiefs?
I think this will be, so when they played each other in the Super Bowl a few years ago, it was a really good game. But I think this one would be, I think that game wasn't as high scoring until the end when the Chiefs kind of pulled away. I think this one would be a very back and forth battle. Niners, a solid defense, but I don't think it's as great as it was when we played them before. I think they're more of an offensive team this year, even though they do have a solid defense as well.
They just have they have a plethora of weapons they can use.
Yeah, with George Kittle, CMC, Debo, Ayuk, they have so much on offense that I think it would be a very back and forth offensive game. But of course, I'm going to take my Chiefs. I'm already calling him a two-time MVP, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, for sure. We'll do awards picks next week, I think. But yeah, I think he has an MVP on lock. So moving back into NCAA football, a few weeks ago now, or was it a week and a half ago, K-State faced off against Alabama in the Sugar Bowl. Alabama played well. They showed up. People thought, it's not college football playoffs. They're not going to care. They did care. K-State, they came up short, but now that the season's over, we have, because we produce NFL talent, we have guys declaring for the draft. Deuce, Malik, Martinez, Julius Brents, they've all declared for the draft. But one that's interesting me, and I thought he would have been the first to declare, is Felix Ndike-Uzama. Yeah. He is projected to be a late to middle first-round pick, and he hasn't yet. I saw a YouTube video this morning. It was released like 9 days ago, and he said his future's uncertain. Granted, I think it was right after the game, so emotions could have played into that. But I'm interested to see what happens with him. And then, however, we do have a few bright spots. Cooper Beebe, I think he plays, I don't remember what he plays, but him and the entire starting offensive line, plus our three best backups, are returning. They've all said they're coming back, so that's great. Beebe was supposed to be a day 2 pick. And this might be part of the reason why we're expected to land Florida State running back Trayshawn Ward, who is currently in the transfer portal. He was on a visit last weekend. It's mostly speculation at this point, but it sounds like he could come to K-State and help out that backfield.
Replace a solid backfield this year with one of the most electric running backs in the
country.
Yeah, and then you got KU football here.
They lost to Arkansas.
Yeah, first bowl game though in a while.
Proud of you, brother. But I don't get, in my head, pulling who's the guy Daniels on the last play. It's like pulling Deuce on the last play. You're not. I don't know what their thought process was. I wouldn't have done it. I think Daniels could have made that play.
A really nice comeback, though.
Yeah, it was really cool. We actually left my house. Yeah. We were watching the game. We thought it was over, and we left and got Chipotle, and then we're sitting at Chipotle watching it go in overtime. Okay, so moving on to KU's a little bit better thing. I guess K-State, I think we're ranked 11, which right now is higher than we were, or the highest we were in football. So we might be dual threat. So KU currently ranked 3.
I think they're 2.
2?
Moved up to 2. Starting 3-0 in Big 12 play. They had close wins over Texas Tech and Oklahoma State, and then they had a statement win, kind of a 14-point victory over West Virginia. That seems like that's going to be one of the biggest margins of a victory in the Big 12 this year because it's so competitive. Yeah.
And then how about WSU? How's WSU faring so far?
Okay, we're 8-8, 500. Little rough start to the season, losing to teams that we probably shouldn't have. But now that we're starting conference play, the American Athletic Conference isn't as great as the Big 12, but
it's still very competitive.
We have 3 or 4 teams that are actually moving to the Big 12 next year.
Houston, Cincinnati.
Houston is now ranked number 1. Cincinnati, I think UCF's going over there too.
Yep.
So then we got Memphis in there who's staying, but they're always a competitive team with under Penny Hardaway, who's gonna bring in some good talent. But we're 8-8 right now. We just beat UCF actually. Solid game there. But it's just it's been trying to find that guy on the team. And I don't know if they've quite.
You're trying to find your identity of the team still. So K-State, we're kind of finding our identity. We're winners. We went from unranked to number 11 this week. We had 3 straight top 25 wins. West Virginia, who the time we played them was number 24, and then we went and beat number 6 Texas at Texas, and then we beat number 19 Baylor in Jerome Tang's homecoming game. So Tang is what this team needed, what the campus needed. I just hope he's not too good that he leaves. You know, there are people already talking about him. Oh, the Texas job's opening up. Yeah, but I don't know. The Queen, his wife, tweeted out, we're not ready to change our colors quite yet. So I hope he stays around for a while because I really like what he's doing with the program over here. So we're going to go to commercial really quick, and then we're going to be back with a little bit of NBA action.
It's been 2 days, no food, no water. We're so hungry, parched. Oh my God, Adam, look. Holy crap, it's Louis. Dude, is that a burger restaurant? Oh my God. Dude, we gotta go. We gotta go. Oh my God. I'm so hungry, dude. I'm so hungry.
Finally.
Dude, food. No!
Restaurant. Louis Cafe is located in the middle of Rose Hill near the train tracks at 107 South Rose Hill Road. It is open from 11 to 8 Monday through Saturday. Louis serves American cuisine and fried chicken. You can also reach Louis at 316-776-9005.
Welcome back. The NBA is now entering its 11th week, and kind of shockingly, they've had 14 players put up 50-plus points. That doesn't even include Larry Markin, who put up 49 for the Jazz like a week ago. So, Scotty, there's been a lot of scoring, there has been in recent years, but this year it just feels more prominent. Clay had a game where he dropped 54, and nobody talked about it. It was the second best performance of the night. What do you think? Is the defense getting worse? Is there rule changes? What do you think that is?
I feel like it's just players so there's players like Clay, who of course he shot 10 threes that night, made 10 threes, which really helps with the shooting side of the league. That's really gone up in the past 10 to 20 years. But players like Luka, they seem to not be guardable. They make these shots that you just don't see very often. And then you got Giannis, of course, who's averaging, I think right now he's averaging 32 points a game, who if he gets in the paint, he's dunking the ball. He's so I feel like the league's just evolving with so much talent. The third options on some teams
could have been the first option in the 2000s. Yeah, it's Luka, I think, it was definitely Luka who said this. He said the defense in the Euro leagues is harder to score against than the defenses here in the NBA. So, if you think about it, 4 of the top 5 guys right now are international guys. You got Luka for sure, Giannis for sure, Jokic pretty much for sure.
Maybe Embiid.
And Embiid. So that's kind of crazy to think about because you go back 3 or 4 years and your tops were Kevin Durant, Curry, LeBron, Harden. So it's cool that the game is growing internationally, and these guys are dominating the league. Luka's probably the MVP front runner right now.
I think so.
Giannis is probably right there with him, and then Tatum probably at that 3 spot. And then the Lakers, they're 2 games under 500. Based off of what I'd seen on Twitter, I hadn't looked at records or anything. I thought they were maybe 13-27. They just get flamed. They're 1.5 games out of the 10 spot, I think. And once you're in the playoffs, anything can happen. There's home court advantage. It's only if you go to a game 7.
Especially with the play-in games now that it's even further out. Multiple teams can make it in that you didn't think were going to. And I feel like LeBron's really. I think he's had 15 games in a row with 30 or more points. It's something crazy. It's tied for the longest streak in his career, and of all time. I think he owns that record. But he's just really looked like young LeBron. And
I took him in the 3rd round of our fantasy basketball draft, and that's an awful pick. That's a really bad pick. It doesn't seem like it. I think I'm 3rd in the league right now. I had a Dumb loss, dude. I started Giannis. He had played 3 games last week. One game he had like 46. The next he had 42. I started him for the last game of the week. He had 5. Granted, he really didn't play good that night. It was against the Hornets. I think he had like 9 points. Which, like, when you think about that, LeBron having 10-plus points in all those games in a row, it's insane.
It is.
Like, you could have, like, Giannis, where he's in the MVP conversation. He had 9 points the other night. But, like we said, everybody just scores at such a high level now. Like, Donovan Mitchell, his 71, that was really impressive over the Bulls.
Yeah.
He led them to that win, and, you know, so there's a lot of things going on in the NBA right now. We're kind of at that point where it's a little early to tell playoffs, but I mean, you get an idea of what teams are going to be competitive.
For sure.
So, you have any more thoughts on the NBA before we wrap it up?
Not really. I just think the Eastern Conference is looking really strong. Those top 3 teams of like the Cavs, the Celtics, and the Bucks.
Yeah. And then out west, your top 3 are probably the Nuggets, the Grizzlies.
Nuggets, Grizzlies, Pelicans are up there, and then I would even
Mavs.
I'd be scared of the Mavs.
Yeah, I'd be really scared. Let's not say the Mavs. You'd be scared of Luka.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got Christian Wood, Jalen Brunson's not there anymore, but you got guys that perform on the Mavs, but it's really Luka that you're scared of. And that trade, I don't know, it's looking less and less even him for that Trae Young swap. So thank you guys for watching. We'll be back next Tuesday with the show. Hopefully Beery will be back. Next week we'll probably bring in Adam for some trivia or something like that. Thank you for